How fixing broken gadgets saved my family from losing everything. Hey everyone, I need to get this off my chest. I'm turning 32 next week, and I never thought I'd be here, seated at my kitchen table while the walls of my life feel like they're closing in. My name's Jamie. A decade ago, I had the dream, good job, loving wife, 2 kids, a cozy house in suburban Ohio. But somewhere along the way, everything fell apart. It all started 6 months ago, when I lost my job. Not because I screwed up, or because the company wasn't doing well. They just restructured. A flash memo came across my work email. We regret to inform you. And just like that, I was chucked out with a 2-week severance and a non-existent safety net. My wife, Heather, tried to hide her panic, but I saw it anyway. Every morning, she glanced at the bills on the counter, and you'd see those phone calls to her mom, whispered after I left for the grocery run. We're not poor, or at least, we weren't, until now. We have $8,000 in credit card debt maxed out. Our savings account is down to $1,200. Mortgage payments are late this month. The bank's already left 2 pink notices on the front door. Meanwhile, Heather works part-time at the local library, but it's minimum wage and I can't seem to land anything that pays more than half my old salary. Freelance gigs show up, they pay peanuts and vanish fast. I haven't told the kids yet. Our son's 7, he'd ask why we're eating ramen 4 nights a week again. And our daughter's 5, she'd notice if there was no new toy under the bed. I'm scared how they take it. My parents have stepped in, but they retired last year, they're scraping by too. My mom keeps sending casseroles. I feel guilty every time I open the door. They shouldn't have to. One evening, I got an email from a stranger. Subject: Help, please read. It was from someone named you/vanishingvan. The message on Reddit confirmed I wasn't alone. They had lost everything too, job, marriage, house. But there was something about their tone, hopeful. Even cautious optimism. They'd started flipping thrifted electronics, cleaning them up, and flipping them on eBay. They wrote, "Start small, 1 phone, 1 tablet." I was terrified. But within 3 months I doubled my investment. Now it's a full-time thing. Everything in me wanted to believe them. I needed to believe them. So that night, I set up my eBay account. Pulled apart my old laptop to test if I could fix a cracked screen glued together with tape, grew up MacGyvering everything. I bought a broken Kindle for $15. It arrived next day, cracked but whole. I spent the weekend stripped down, replaced the battery, glued the screen straight. Listed it for $75. Fees, shipping, profit, maybe $40? It wasn't much. But it was something. My wife tried to help. She washed cover cases, tested it, took pictures. We shipped it with hope. Then we waited. 2 days passed. We thought it was lost. Buyer messaged. Thanks, but it's not turning on. Heart sank. But then a second message. Actually, I pressed the power button twice. It's alive. Love it. Extra bucks sent. $80 into our account. First real cash in months. That night, we cracked open a half bottle of cheap wine and toasted to the device. I reached across the table and touched Heather's hand. We did it. She smiled, teared up, winked. In that moment, the walls didn't seem so close. We set a goal, 10 devices a month, netting at least $500. With that cushion, we'd start chipping away at credit card debt, keep the lights on, keep our heads above water. On day 2 of this side hustle, I found a yard sale listing. Electronic parts cheap. Grabbed a screwdriver, took my son along for adventure. 5 broken phones, 2 tablets, a Nintendo DS with shattered hinge, $25 total. Heather called it the electronic fortune. Maybe she was onto something. But then, twist. 2 days later, that same Redditor you/vanishingvan messaged me directly. Said they had used the same DS model and had extra parts they could send, no charge. Just pay it forward. I was skeptical. Free parts? Couldn't be real. But by the time I got the package, I opened a box full of tiny screens, buttons, batteries. And a note. Don't sell everything back. Donate at least 1 device to a kid who can't get one. Suddenly, this wasn't just about survival. It was about purpose. We fixed up a tablet so our daughter's friend could read bedtime stories. We fixed a DS for my son's buddy. We even made a promise to ourselves. Once things stabilize, we volunteer, teach tech repair at the community center. There was something about transforming broken things, giving them new value. About pulling ourselves from debt 1 device at a time. About that stranger's kindness sparking our own. But for every small victory, there have been shadows, the credit card calls, the letters from the mortgage servicer, the nights my wife cries in the laundry room so I don't hear. The fear of losing our home. The shame. And then last Thursday, As I dropped off another device at UPS, I got a call. Heather. Jamie. Mom's in the hospital. Stroke. My chest seized. My dad picks up. She's stable. But you've got to come. I looked down at my phone. 50 minutes to the hospital. No car, it's in the shop. No money Uber. I just stood there, bag of repaired gadgets in my hands, thinking, here we go again. The hospital smelled like bleach and cheap coffee. I borrowed a neighbor's car to get there. The moment I walked into the room and saw my mother lying in that bed, half her face drooping, her eyes blinking slow, I knew we weren't just broke anymore. We were at the edge of something deeper. Heather and the kids met me there. My father stood at the door, looking lost. It happened while she was checking the mail, he said. Just collapsed. For the next week, everything changed. We started splitting days, Heather at work and with the kids, me bouncing between the hospital and house, trying to keep the repair hustle going in the margins. But inside, I was unraveling. Mom couldn't speak clearly. My dad, once the rock, kept repeating things, as if rehearsing a life he never expected. The worst part? She'd been helping us, quietly, behind the scenes. Paying our utility bills. Picking up groceries when she had extras. And I never even said thank you. Now, she couldn't say anything at all. In one desperate moment, I looked at Heather and said, "What if we just sold the house?" She stared. "And go where, Jamie? Into the car?" But the idea didn't go away. I listed some higher-end repairs on Reddit, looking for buyers. Someone messaged me privately, username use/heatsinkhunter. Said he was looking for consistent suppliers of refurbished gear. His profile was empty. No posts. But he offered double what I'd usually get, for bulk work. I was suspicious, but curious. We talked more. He asked for 5 tablets, 3 phones, shipped monthly. $2,000 a batch. He even offered to pay half up front. It sounded insane. Too good. But rent was looming, and hospital bills were piling up. So I said yes. That month was hell. I worked all night, ordering parts, soldering motherboards, testing screens, packaging. Heather helped when she could. But something shifted. She became quieter. One night I found her crying on the couch, watching a rerun of The Office. I sat next to her. She didn't speak. Just handed me a letter. It was from her job. The library was cutting hours. Budget issues. She was down to 1 shift a week. We laughed. It was hollow. "Maybe I'll just start reading books on the corner," she joked. By some miracle, the first delivery to Heatsink Hunter went through. He paid. On time. I nearly cried when I saw the PayPal balance. $2,000. Enough to keep us going, barely. But things were unraveling fast. The second shipment was due in 2 weeks, and I had none of the gear. Local sales dried up. My thrift contacts were tapped out. I found myself driving to 3 cities over the weekend just to buy broken gadgets. And I was using our rent money to do it. Then the real twist hit. Tuesday morning, I got a call from a blocked number. A man on the other end said, "Is this Jamie Cooper?" "Yes. This is Officer D'Angelo. Do you know someone by the username Heatsink Hunter?" My stomach dropped. He continued, "We're investigating an interstate fraud ring involving refurbished electronics sold with falsified parts. Some tied back to your shipments. We need to ask you some questions." I felt my blood go cold. I didn't know. "I'm just a guy fixing up junk from Goodwill," he sighed. "We believe you. But we're going to need access to your eBay records. And your correspondence with the buyer." I hung up and sat frozen. Had I just dragged my entire family into felony territory? I told Heather everything. She didn't yell. She just sat still for a long time and said, "We have to call a lawyer." We couldn't afford one. So we did the only thing we could do. We reached back out to use/vanishing van. I messaged them, explained what happened. No response for 2 days. Then finally, "I know Officer D'Angelo. He's legit. But you're okay. You're a middleman, not a target. Lay low. Don't ship anything else." I wanted to scream. We just sunk $600 into more gadgets for the next order. But I listened. 3 days later, I got an official letter from the police. I was listed as a cooperating witness, not a suspect. But the damage was done. My eBay account got flagged. Payments frozen. No way to move products. I was back at zero. Except I wasn't. Because while I was drowning, Heather had been doing something I never expected. One night she showed me her laptop. She'd created a blog, The Broken Home Project. She wrote about our journey, job loss, side hustles, the hospital, even the scams. People were commenting. subscribing, sharing, and then donations. Small at first. I've been there too. Stay strong. Here's $20 for your next flip. I wept reading them. We made $300 that first week. Heather looked at me, eyes shining. Maybe our story isn't over yet. Something shifted after the blog went live. It was as if telling the truth out loud, about everything, even the messy, shameful parts, broke the spell of helplessness. People weren't just reading. They were responding. A guy from New Mexico messaged, "I read your blog to my teenage son. We fixed up a cracked Chromebook together. He thinks you're a hero." A woman in Michigan sent us a working but slow iPad and wrote, "Hope it helps. I know what it's like to be drowning," with a smile. Heather cried when she read that one. By the end of the month, our PayPal was at $940, between donations and a few small gadget sales through new, safer channels. It wasn't just money. It was belief. Other people believing in us when we barely believed in ourselves. And then came the next shock. A man reached out via email. Said he ran a local community center just outside Akron. He'd read Heather's blog and wanted to meet us. His name was Frank. Kind face, deep voice, dressed like he lived in flannel. He sat with us in a back office, sipping instant coffee. "I've got 14 teens who come here after school. Most don't have working phones, let alone computers. What you're doing, it's powerful. Would you consider teaching a class here? Maybe show them how to fix up some of this broken gear?" I blinked. "You want me to teach? You've already taught hundreds online," he said, tapping Heather's blog on his tablet. We started 2 weeks later. Every Wednesday afternoon, I brought in a backpack full of cracked phones and busted earbuds. The kids, quiet at first, opened up when I showed them how to change a battery with just a heat pad and patience. Heather helped one girl refurbish a Kindle so she could read manga on her bus rides. That first class, one kid, Devin, fixed a phone by himself. It lit up in his hands like magic. He turned to me, face glowing, and said, "Dude, I didn't know I was smart." That stuck with me. We began documenting everything. Heather posted before and afters on her blog. A local tech repair company noticed and offered us a sponsorship. Tools, parts, even a small monthly stipend. Nothing crazy, $250 a month in gear donations, but to us, it felt like we'd won the lottery. For a while, it felt like things were really turning around. Then came January. And with it, 2 devastating hits. First, my dad called at 7:13 a.m. "Jamie, it's your mom. She didn't make it through the night." I dropped the phone. Heather caught it. I just stood in the middle of the kitchen, hands shaking, as our kids ate cereal behind me, asking why Daddy's face was scary. The funeral was cold. Ohio winter, gray skies and frozen grief. My dad held my hand so tight it left an imprint. At the wake, he leaned over and whispered, "I have to sell the house. I can't do this alone." I nodded. "Move in with us. We'll figure it out." Heather didn't say anything then. But I saw the worry in her eyes. Because 3 days later, the second hit came, a letter from the bank. Foreclosure proceedings initiated. We were too far behind. Too many missed payments. Too many extensions. They were done waiting. Heather broke first. "I can't lose another home, Jamie. I can't." I didn't have answers. Just rage. At the system. At myself. At the fact that I could teach a teenager how to bring a phone back from the dead but couldn't keep my own family from losing everything. Then I remembered something from an old email, /vanishing van. One line I never paid much attention to. "When I lost my house, I gained my freedom." I never understood that until now. So I did the unthinkable. I went live on Reddit. On video. My face, my voice. I told our full story, from job loss to scammed shipments to teaching kids at a rec center. I said, "We're not asking for charity. We just want time. A second chance. We'll work for it. All of it. But please, don't let the bank take our home without hearing this." Heather begged me not to post it. She was scared of judgment. But I hit upload anyway. What happened next blew our lives wide open. When I woke up the next morning, my phone was buzzing so much I thought it was broken. I picked it up, expecting a few angry Reddit comments, or maybe, at best, sympathy from strangers. Instead, I saw this. "You're on the front page." Overnight, my video had gone viral. Not kind of viral. Viral. Front page of Reddit. Shared on YouTube compilations. A Twitter thread about it hit 1.3 million views. Someone even clipped my "We just want time" line and turned it into a TikTok audio. Suddenly, I wasn't just a guy in Ohio fixing tablets in his garage, I was a symbol. And then, the emails started flooding in. A teacher in Oregon sent $100 and wrote, "I wish my brother had someone like you." A woman from Georgia offered to help set up a GoFundMe. "I'm a retired CPA. Let's make this real." And the one that stopped my heart, a man claiming to be a regional bank manager at the same institution threatening to foreclose on our house. He said, "I saw your story. Give me 48 hours. I'm escalating." 48 hours later, we got a call. The foreclosure was paused. Temporarily. No promises yet, but we had a chance. Heather stared at me as if seeing me for the first time. You really did it." I shook my head. We did. The GoFundMe exploded, $12,000 in 3 days. Comments were overflowing. "We've all been Jamie. This is the kind of family worth saving. Keep fighting." We used every penny wisely. Paid off the most urgent debts. Got the mortgage current. Bought better tools for the rec center classes. Even fixed the car. And for the first time in nearly a year, we bought a pizza without guilt. Then, yet another twist. Heather's blog got a call from a local NPR station. They wanted to interview us. "Your story's what people need right now," the producer said. "It's not just about survival, it's about resilience." The interview aired a week later. More donations came in, but more importantly, opportunities. A nonprofit reached out. They were building a digital literacy program for underserved neighborhoods and wanted to license our repair curriculum. License it. They offered $5,000 for the initial content, with possible monthly residuals. It felt like the universe was finally handing us a rope instead of rocks. So we got to work. Heather organized everything, wrote out lesson plans, created visual guides. I recorded voiceovers and tutorials, using nothing but our old laptop and a cheap mic duct taped to a desk lamp. The kids pitched in. Our son drew little cartoons for the cover slides. It was a family business now. A real one. But just when we thought the clouds had cleared, life threw one more storm our way. It was mid-April. Heather went in for what we thought was a routine checkup. She'd been feeling dizzy and short-tempered. We blamed it on stress. But the doctor didn't. That night, she sat me down, eyes wide, hands trembling. "I'm pregnant." I didn't speak. Couldn't. Not because I was upset, but because I was terrified. Another mouth to feed. More diapers. More hospital bills. But then she added quietly, "I didn't think I could get pregnant again." We sat in silence. Holding hands. Not smiling. Not crying. Just absorbing the weight of what this meant. Eventually, I whispered, "Then we'll raise a baby with soldering irons and secondhand tablets." She laughed. It broke the tension. Later that week, our son came up to us while I was fixing a Chromebook at the kitchen table. "Can I help this time?" he asked. I handed him the screwdriver. And that's when I realized, we weren't just rebuilding broken gadgets anymore. We were rebuilding ourselves. The day after we found out about the baby, we told the kids. Our daughter gasped, hands on her cheeks like it was Christmas morning. "I want a sister," she shouted. Our son, ever the realist, just asked, "Will we have to move again?" "No," I told him. "We're not going anywhere." I meant it. For once, I believed it. That spring, everything seemed to align. The nonprofit paid on time. Donations slowed, but steady repair sales kept us going. The rec center gave me a small part-time salary, and Heather's blog landed her a spot writing tech pieces for a parenting site. They called her the mom who repairs hope. And then came the betrayal. It started small. A comment on her blog, anonymous. "Hope you're enjoying your 15 minutes. Shame it's built on lies." We brushed it off as internet noise. But then an email came in. Subject: "Your husband is stealing designs." Attached were screenshots. Code snippets. Images of repair guides we'd shared, side by side with posts on another site. A professional-looking platform run by a guy named Marcus Redding, owner of Next Fix Tech. Marcus claimed I'd taken his content, rebranded it, and sold it to the nonprofit. I was floored. I'd never even heard of this man. But he wasn't bluffing. He sent a cease and desist. The nonprofit froze our licensing deal immediately. Said they'd look into the matter. I felt like I was suffocating. We'd done everything right. How could this be happening? I stayed up all night digging. Finally, I found it. 4 years ago, Marcus posted a one-off Reddit guide about basic soldering tips. A few of my illustrations did overlap, accidentally. They were based on open-source tutorials I'd referenced in the early days. But he'd since copyrighted them. We weren't thieves. But it didn't matter. Perception was everything now. The nonprofit didn't sue, but they didn't pay either. Our second licensing check, gone. Heather was crushed. We worked so hard. We help people. And now this? I wanted revenge. I wanted to call Marcus and scream. But instead I wrote him a message. I'm sorry for the overlap. It was unintentional. I'll revise everything. But please, don't tear down something helping kids because of a few images. We can figure this out. No reply. Instead, 2 days later, he published a Medium article titled, How I Got Copied by a Charity Darling. The post went mildly viral. Accused me of being a scammer. A faker. Heather cried for hours. But then something amazing happened. The same teens we taught at the rec center started posting in the comments. One by one. Jamie helped me fix my first laptop. I use it to do my college apps now. He gave me my first working phone. Didn't ask for a dime. Even if he made a mistake, that man taught me to believe I was more than broken. The article was flooded. Over 300 comments, 95% defending us. Then, Frank from the rec center called. Screw Marcus. We know who you are. We're expanding the program. And you're the face. I cried. And for the first time in a long time, so did Heather. But this time, from relief. We decided something that night. We weren't just going to survive anymore. We were going to build. Summer came fast. The days got warmer, but our stress didn't melt with the snow. We were balancing more than ever. Heather's pregnancy, the rec center program, the blog, repairs, and rebuilding our curriculum from scratch to remove any trace of Marcus's content. But something about the struggle felt lighter. One night, after class, Devin, the same teen who'd once said, I didn't know I was smart, came up to me with a little black box. Inside was a Raspberry Pi and a note. Built this because you taught me how. Hope your new kid likes my craft. I think that was the first time I let myself believe we were making something lasting. Then, another twist. I got a DM on Reddit, from you/vanishingvan. It had been months since I heard from him. Just 3 words. You ready yet? I replied. Ready for what? What followed changed everything. Turns out Van wasn't just some guy flipping gadgets. His real name was Ruben. He used to run a tech startup in Chicago until his partner ran off with everything. He lost his company, home, marriage. But instead of giving up, he quietly built a network of self-taught fixers, people like me, teaching each other how to survive off scraps. He called it the Patchwork Collective. And now, he wanted us to join. We're building something bigger, he said on the phone. An actual nonprofit. National reach. Workshops in schools, shelters, halfway houses. And we need families. Faces. Real ones. You guys are it. My jaw dropped. You want us to be part of the launch? You're already doing it, he said. Let's make it official. The offer, relocation to a small but growing tech center in Tulsa. Full-time salaries for both me and Heather. Health insurance. A team to help grow the repair curriculum. And this floored us, childcare support once the baby arrived. It felt impossible. We were just 2 people who turned broken Kindles into rent money. Now we were being asked to help fix people. Heather hesitated. Tulsa? She whispered. That's far from your dad. From everything. We sat with it for a week. In that time, my dad, who had been living with us, came into the kitchen one morning, coffee in hand, and said, Go. I blinked. What? You've got something real. I'll be okay. I can visit. You've carried this family. It's time you fly. We cried. All of us. Even our son, who didn't quite understand what moving to Tulsa meant, but felt the weight of goodbye in his chest. 2 months later we were packed up, on the road. The old car that once coughed through Ohio winters now carried a family reborn. We arrived in Tulsa to a modest rented home, a workshop space, and a welcome dinner hosted by Ruben and the other patchworkers. They gave us badges. Labeled Founding Fixers. Heather went into labor early October. A girl. Healthy. Perfect. We named her Eliana, which means, God has answered. The day we brought her home, there was a tiny note on the crib sent from Devin. You fixed more than machines. You fixed us. 5 years later. Our daughter Eliana is 5 now. She just fixed her first toy, a robotic dog with a missing ear and a glitchy bark. She took it apart with my old precision screwdriver kit and said, Daddy, he was just sad inside. I nearly cried. Our son's 13, already building his own keyboards from scratch. Our daughter's 8, fluent in both sarcasm and soldering. And Heather, she runs national programs now. Curriculum, blogs, social channels, outreach. People call her the Fix-It Mom of America. We live in a bigger house now, still modest, but filled with second-hand furniture and first-rate memories. The Patchwork Collective grew like wildfire. What started as a dusty garage operation turned into over 140 workshops in 23 states. I now run our Tulsa hub. Every week, I teach new students, teens, single parents, veterans, how to repair phones, tablets, game consoles, even their own confidence. Some go on to jobs. Some go back to school. Some just needed something to believe in again. But one day, something I didn't expect happened. It was a quiet Thursday. Rain on the windows, smell of solder and popcorn in the air. I was closing up the workshop when a man stepped in. Tall. Business casual. Mid-40s. Something about his face felt familiar. He held out a hand. Jamie Cooper? I nodded slowly. Yes? I'm Marcus Redding. I froze. He continued. I wanted to say I'm sorry. I stared at him, unsure what to say. He went on. I was angry. You took what I thought was mine. Truth is, I saw the impact you were making and got jealous. You built something that mattered. I built a brand. Yours changed lives. He handed me a package. Inside, 3 repair manuals. All his own. And a note. Use these. No credit needed. Just keep building. Then he was gone. I didn't forgive him right away. But eventually I did. Because what I learned through all of this is that broken doesn't mean worthless. It means there's more work to do. And when people are willing to do the work, they don't just repair devices. They restore dignity, family, future. 1 year later, Heather's blog excerpt. 10 years ago, we couldn't afford milk. Today, our daughter runs a mini repair club in our backyard and donates tablets to local kids who don't have tech at home. We didn't win the lottery. No miracle check. Just grit. Kindness. A lot of ugly crying. And a community of strangers who believed in us before we did. If you're in the middle of your broken season right now, I want to say this. You're not finished. You're not broken beyond repair. You're in the middle of your rebuild. Final Reddit post, from Jamie's account.